The broken playground. It was a peaceful day on the planet Hope 9. The sun was warm, the sky was blue, and children laughed as they played in the colony's small playground. Swings moved back and forth. A little boy kicked a ball while two girls played with a toy drone. The colony was small with only a few hundred people. It was one of Earth's first peaceful outposts in a new part of the galaxy. The people who lived there were farmers, scientists, and families. Most of all, it was a safe place. Or at least, it used to be. No one saw the danger coming. It happened, fast. First, the sky turned dark. A strange hum filled the air. The children looked up, confused. Then, 3 ships appeared, black and sharp like knives cutting through the clouds. The ships landed just outside the colony. The doors opened. Tall gray creatures with glowing red eyes stepped out. They were not known to humans. Their faces were cold, without any emotion. They did not speak. They walked straight to the playground. The children screamed. Some ran. Some froze. One tried to protect his little sister. It didn't matter. The creatures grabbed them, one by one. Some kids were taken into the ships. One child resisted too much. The creature lifted him high and dropped him. Hard. The boy did not move again. By the time the adults reached the playground, it was too late. The ships were gone. The sky was quiet again. But the playground was broken. Toys were scattered. Swings were twisted. The ball rolled slowly across the sand, now stained red. 2 days later, Earth received the message. Inside a dark meeting room, a hologram played the last footage from the colony's cameras. Leaders from Earth's United Command watched in silence. No, one spoke until the end. A voice broke the stillness. Strong, female, angry. It was Captain Sarah Connors, a decorated officer from the Mars Defense Force. She leaned forward, eyes burning. "Who touches children?" she asked, her voice shaking. "What kind of monster does that?" No one had the answer. A second person spoke. Dr. Alan Ellis, a peaceful man, a scientist who had worked on many alien contacts. He looked pale. These creatures, they didn't just kill. They were collecting something, taking samples. "Samples?" Sarah snapped. "They took our kids." One child survived. Her name was Mia. She was only 8 years old. She had hidden under a slide, covering herself with sand. Now she lay in a hospital bed on Earth, silent, eyes wide open, always staring at the ceiling. Dr. Ellis tried to talk to her. He showed her drawings, pictures of animals, flowers, people. She said nothing. Then, one day she finally whispered something. A single word. Varnok. Captain Sarah stood in the command room again. This time she was wearing her armor. Her team stood beside her. Soldiers, pilots, engineers, all ready. "The Varnok," she said. "That's what they're called." She tapped on the screen behind her. Images appeared, records from old star charts, stories from other alien races. The Varnok were not unknown. They were secretive, quiet. Most called them peaceful. But now the truth was different. "They attacked our people," Sarah said. "They killed a child. They stole many more. That is not peace." Her voice grew cold. "They want war? Then they'll get it." Later that night, Sarah stood alone. She visited the playground on Earth built to remember the lost children. It looked just like the one on Hope 9, but this one was silent. No laughter, no joy. She placed a small toy at the base of the statue. AK. Tribute to the boy who died. As she walked away, a voice recorded her last words. "You touched our children. Now we'll touch your entire world." Humanity responds. The boy's name was Eli. He was 10 years old. He wanted to be a pilot when he grew up. He died crying, asking for his mom. His story was broadcast across Earth. Again and again. Every person on the planet saw it. Every father, every mother, every soldier, every leader, and something deep inside humanity broke. Not in fear, but in rage. In the massive halls of Earth United Command, silence filled the war room. A huge screen showed Eli's last image, his broken body lying beside a playground slide. Hundreds of military officers sat frozen, fists clenched. President Ayla Monroe stood at the center. She didn't speak for a full minute. Then, in a calm voice, she asked, "Is there any doubt left? Are we sure it was the Varnok?" Dr. Ellis nodded. "We found Varnok DNA on the scene. Also, the girl, Mia, said their name. The evidence is clear. Captain Sarah Connors didn't wait. We don't need more evidence, we need orders." The room stirred. A few diplomats looked uncomfortable. "Sarah," one of them said, "we don't want to start an interstellar war. The Varnok were peaceful before. Maybe this was just a mistake." Sarah turned her head sharply. "A mistake?" she said quietly. "Tell that to Eli's mother." The room went silent again. 10 hours later, Earth launched its response. But not full war. Not yet. A team would be sent, a peace mission. Officially, unofficially, everyone knew what it really was. A warning. Captain Sarah was chosen to lead it. Her team was small but deadly. Laterne Vega, a cyber hacker and drone pilot. Corporal Juno, expert in alien languages. Commander Malik, heavy weapons and ground combat. And Dr. Ellis, the only non-soldier, because someone needed to ask questions before bullets started flying. Their ship, the Shadow Wind, left orbit the next day. Quiet, fast, armed. Destination: Varnok Prime, the homeworld of the species who hurt human children. The journey took 3 days. No one slept much. Sarah sat alone in her quarters watching old videos of Earth kids playing, laughing, screaming, running. She pressed pause. Her eyes were cold. "We are not monsters," she whispered, "but we protect our own." As they entered Varnok space, something strange happened. The Varnok sent a message. "We welcome the humans. Let peace grow between us." They acted friendly. Too friendly. Sarah didn't trust it. Neither did Dr. Ellis. "I've studied Varnok history for years," he said. "This isn't normal. They avoid visitors. They never invite guests." Still, they landed. The first thing Sarah noticed on the Varnok homeworld was the silence. The city was clean. Too clean, no movement, no children, no noise. Only red-eyed guards, standing perfectly still. The Varnok leader called himself High Speaker Jirvak. His voice was smooth, words clear. "We are sorry to hear about your loss," he said with a bow. "We had nothing to do with it." Sarah stared at him. Her voice was calm but sharp. "Then tell me who did." Jirvak smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "We are looking into it," he said. "Perhaps a rogue group." Ellis leaned close to Sarah. "He's lying." Sarah already knew. That night, Laterne Vega hacked into the Varnok database. What she found made her freeze. They had files on human biology, on child growth rates, on pain response testing. They also had files on other species. Ellis looked through the files and said 2 words. "Experiment lab." Sarah's eyes narrowed. They weren't just killing kids. They were testing them. Back on the ship, Sarah sent a message to Earth. She spoke clearly, firmly, no emotion. This was not an accident. This was a program, a plan. The Varnok are not innocent. Prepare for next steps. She looked out the window at the cold stars, and she made a promise. "If we don't stop them now, more children will suffer. And I will not let that happen." The Varnok lie 3 human kids were still alive, and the Varnok knew where they were. They just weren't telling. The air inside the Varnok capital was always cold, not from weather but from design. The walls of their buildings were smooth and dark, made of some strange living metal. The halls had no sound, no color, no warmth. Captain Sarah hated it. "You notice something?" she whispered to Ellis as they walked beside their Varnok guide. "No kids, no families, no laughter, Dr. Ellis nodded. It's like a city built by machines. They were led into a large chamber. At the center stood high speaker Jirvak, wearing a long silver red lights blinked on the walls like slow heartbeats. He smiled as they entered, but his smile was wrong, too perfect, too empty. Welcome again, humans, Jirvak said. We are still investigating this sad event, but we assure you, the Varnok would never harm your young. Sarah stepped forward, face calm, but eyes sharp. Then explain these files. She threw a data pad onto the table. The room fell quiet. Jirvak glanced at the screen. Charts, images, notes, all about human children. He didn't blink. These are for learning. We study all life. It's how we grow. Ellis cut in. You're not just studying, you're experimenting, measuring fear, pain, reactions. These are lab reports, not science lessons. Jirvak's face stayed still, but his hand twitched, just for a second. Sarah saw it, lying, hiding something. That night, back on the ship, Vega dug deeper into the stolen files. She found something new, a hidden log, broken, corrupted, but readable. Video footage. It showed a small metal room. A child, human, was strapped to a table, wires in his skin. He was crying. A voice spoke in Varnok language. Then another child was dragged into the room, this time, not human, blue skin, forearms, crying too. Ellis translated the words. They're comparing species, testing which reacts faster and which lasts longer before breaking. Sarah stood frozen. Then she said just 4 words. They did this before. The next day, Sarah requested a tour of Varnok medical centers. Jirvak agreed. Too quickly. The first hospital they showed was clean. Too clean. No patients, no nurses, just machines, empty rooms. Where are the children? Sarah asked. Jirvak smiled. We raise them separately. They are taught peace. Sarah stared at him. We raised ours in playgrounds. That night, Vega found another file. This one marked with a strange symbol, a triangle with 3 dots. It was a transfer order from a Varnok ship to an unknown location. The cargo. Subjects. 3 human young. Condition. Ghosts of the lab. The lab was not supposed to exist. It wasn't on any map. No records, no broadcasts, only a single line in a damaged file. Subject transfer, outpost black, moon 5. Status, cold. Captain Sarah read it again and again. Cold? She said. What does that mean? Dr. Ellis looked at her, face pale. It means everyone inside is dead. Their ship, Shadow Wind, hovered over a dead gray moon. No life, no sound, only dust and black rocks. But there it was. A building, half buried in the ground, metal doors, cracked walls, burn marks, a forgotten lab, a grave. As the team stepped inside, the doors opened with a long, groaning sound, like the moon itself was warning them to turn back. The hallway was dark, their lights flicked on, the walls were scratched. From the inside, Lauder Vega whispered, "This place is wrong." Sarah nodded. No talking. Guns ready. Stay close. Room by room, they moved through the lab. Broken computers, cracked glass, long metal tables with straps. Some still had dried blood on them. Dr. Ellis read the signs on the walls. Room A3. Neural reaction test room B6, pain limit observation room C1, species swap. Lab. Every room was a nightmare. Then they found the recordings. Vega connected to the broken system and played the last files. A screen flickered on. A small human girl, no older than 7, sat in a chair. She was crying, saying one word over and over. Home. Behind her, a Varnok scientist stood with tools in hand. He never looked at her face, only the data screen beside her. Another file played. A Varnok child this time. Same tools, same fear. Dr. Ellis stepped back, shaking. They were comparing pain, measuring who breaks faster. In the next room, Sarah found something else, a wall full of names. Most were crossed out, but 3 were still marked as active. She read them out loud. Eli Barnes, Sophia Lynn, Malik Ray. Eli's dead, she said softly. But the other 2, they're still alive. There was a small symbol next to the names, the same triangle and 3 dots she saw before. Whoever runs this lab, they're still out. There, Vega said. As they prepared to leave, a sound echoed from the back of the lab. Metal hitting metal. The team froze. Movement, said Commander Malik. Rear hall, 10 meters. They aimed their weapons and moved slowly. Then, they saw it, a small robot dragging something. It turned. Its camera lens was cracked. A child's drawing was stuck to its side. A sun, a house, a stick figure with the word Mom. The robot beeped once, then powered down. Ellis picked up the paper. It belonged to one of the kids. Back on the ship, Sarah stood at the window. Below her, the lab was now sealed forever. They left a beacon behind, a warning to anyone who found it. Do not enter. This place holds only pain. She sent a final message to Earth. We have proof. The Varnok took children, human and alien, for testing. Some are still alive. This was no mistake. It was organized, funded, hidden. The Varnok speak peace, but behind their words are ghosts. We're not done. We're just getting started. She turned to her team. Next stop, Varnok War Council. No more questions. No more chances. It's time they see what human rage looks like. No mercy for monsters. It wasn't a battle. It was an execution. The Varnok War Council bunker was built deep inside a mountain on their homeworld. Thick walls, anti-ship defenses, energy shields. They believed it was safe. They were wrong. Captain Sarah Connors didn't bring peace talks. She brought fire. From orbit, Earth's warships rained. Destruction. Plasma cannons lit up the sky. Fighter drones screamed through the clouds. The bunker's shields held for exactly 4 minutes. Then Sarah dropped in with her strike team. Guns ready, hearts cold. Inside the bunker, Varnok guards rushed to defend. Their leaders. They didn't last long. Sarah moved like a storm. Latini Vega hacked doors as bullets flew. Commander Malik blasted through armored corridors. Corporal Juno handled the rear, watching for ambushes. Room by room, they cleared the path. No mercy. They found the council hiding in the core chamber. 12 Varnok leaders in long silver robes. Cowards. They raised their hands, glowing blue with false surrender. We are ready to negotiate, said one. Sarah didn't even blink. You had your chance. She threw down a hollow projector. It played a single file. The face of a crying child. Hooked to machines. Whispering, please, let me go. One Varnok looked away. Another started to speak. Malik raised his weapon. Don't, Sarah said. She stepped forward. You hurt kids, you experimented on them, you tried to hide it. She pointed at each council member. And you let it happen. One Varnok trembled. We were told it was for peace. Sarah shot him in the leg. He screamed. There's no peace, she said. Not anymore. Back on the Shadow Wind, Dr. Ellis was monitoring a signal. He wasn't with the strike team, but he was busy because the real surprise hadn't come yet. He found a live signal, a transmission buried deep inside the Varnok military network, coming from an off-world base. He opened the message. It wasn't meant for the Varnok. It wasn't even in their language. It was older, sharper, more violent, another species, watching, listening, controlling. His heart stopped. He called Sarah. She answered, blood on her armor, smoke behind her. What is it? Sarah. The Varnok aren't the top of the chain. What? They're not the real enemy, they're just tools. Then who is? Ellis's voice dropped. I don't know. But they're watching us now. Sarah turned to the surviving council. You took orders. You followed evil. You thought we wouldn't find out. She raised her gun. You thought wrong. 4 Varnok leaders were left alive. Sarah had a choice. Kill them or use them. She looked at her team. We find out who's really behind this. Who gave the orders? Who wants our kids? Then she turned to the prisoners. Start talking. In the sky above, Earth's fleet held position. Below, fires burned and far across the stars. Something ancient smiled. It had been hiding for centuries. It used races like the Varnok to do its work. But now humanity was coming, and humanity wasn't afraid. The true enemy, it wasn't the Varnok. It was something worse, older, hidden, watching. Shadow race. They didn't have a name, because anyone who learned it didn't live long enough to speak it. Captain Sarah stood in front of the last Varnok survivor. Bloodied, cuffed, eyes full of fear. He whispered 2 words. The masters. They gave us the science, he said. The machines, the knowledge we obeyed or they would erase us. Sarah's voice was cold. They made you hurt children? He nodded once. They made us test pain, emotions, hope. They feed on fear. Back on the shadow wind, Dr. Ellis found a signal. A strange frequency buried in the code of Varnok tech. It wasn't Varnok language, not even close. It was alive. It spoke without sound. It moved through machines like a ghost. Ellis's hands shook as he translated. They are aware. They are angry. And now they are coming. The ship's lights flickered. Something entered the system, not a virus, not data, a presence. Vega screamed from the control room. They're in the ship. Screens went black. The engine hummed louder. Doors slammed shut. Then, silence. And a voice. But not from speakers, from inside their minds. You should have left the children. You should have stayed blind. Outside in the black of space, something appeared. A ship. No, not a ship. A shape, massive, silent, floating like a dead god. No lights, no heat, no signal. But somehow, watching. Sarah stared at it through the window. It didn't move, it didn't need to. She felt it in her bones. This was the real enemy. Dr. Ellis checked the files again. They don't conquer planets. They don't fight wars. What do? Malik asked. Ellis looked up. They harvest species, slowly, quietly, from inside. They infect weak governments, give them power, watch them hurt the innocent, then come back to feed on the fear, Vega whispered. Like farmers. And we're the crops. Sarah made a choice. We send this to Earth, all of it. They need to know. She turned to her team. And then we strike. Malik frowned. We're just one ship, one team. Against that? Sarah smiled, grim and fearless. Then we hit them hard enough they feel it. The shadow wind locked weapons, charged its final strike, a plasma core overload. It would destroy their ship, and anything near it. A suicide run. Sarah placed her hand on the launch key. For every child they hurt, she said. For every scream we couldn't stop. For Eli, for Sophia, for Malik Ray. She looked at her team. They nodded. Then she turned her eyes to the silent shadow in space. Burn. The ship launched forward, straight into the unknown, straight into the mouth of the monster. The core overloaded, a blinding white flash filled the stars, and then silence. No wreckage was found, no signals, just one last message that reached Earth before the blast. We found the truth. We found the real monsters. They feed on our pain. But they made one mistake. They hurt human kids. Now humanity knows, and we are coming.